What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Third Round Picks podcast. I'm Carl,
I'm Seth.
And I'm Caleb.
and today we have a very semi-controversial question that we're going to answer today. When it's all said and done, is Kevin Durant going to be better or is Nikola Jokic going to be better? Obviously, Kevin Durant's had a longer career, but some would argue Jokic has had a better career in the shorter amount of time. So let's get right into it.
Sweet. Thanks, Carl.
Of course.
So, I asked this question to you guys, and I'm excited to hear the answer. Steph and I talked about it, and we cheated on Carl a little bit, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Can't believe you
But
two.
we were watching football, so we were bored. It's not our fault.
Fair enough.
Um,
Actually, I'll allow it this time, but don't let it happen
Yeah,
again.
let me center myself a little bit. Yeah. So, given trajectories, I was wondering, what you guys thought if Kevin Durant or Nikola Jokic would be greater on the all-time list. Like, say you got the NBA 100 list. Who's higher at the end?
Seth, I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit and already give Jokic his fourth MVP because I just think that unless he gets hurt or something really bad happens with the Nuggets, like I think, which he never does. I think I'm knocking on wood door. That's four MVPs. So let's even if he just has three, but he's favorite for four. We're predicting the future a little bit. I'll give him four. I just think that is impossible for Durant to compete. Like Durant's had a great career. I feel like his like scoring numbers are gonna be higher. Like his like maybe his career stats are gonna look better. But it kind of is like Karl Malone is what third in scoring, or whatever. Like no one's saying he's as good as Jokic. Like I don't think that'd be crazy, right? So like I just think like people judge the prime more, and like I just think Jokic's prime, like all of his MVPs, like part of it's just like Durant had to be in the NBA in his prime during LeBron's prime, which sucked for him for being
Yeah.
considered the best player in the world at the time. But Jokic is just clearly the best player in the world going on like 4 or 5 years now, and I just think that people are going to remember that. He might still be the best player a couple more years, which again, at the end of the day, I think that'll put him over the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like what you said about the Karl Malone thing. That was a good point. Like, no one says he's the third greatest player of all time. But yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm a little bit of a Kevin Durant hater just because he hasn't done anything on Phoenix, but he has had a pretty decent career. He
Yeah.
started every game that he played, I believe, according to Basketball Reference at least. Yeah, every game that he played, he started in, even his rookie year, etc. His points per game for his career is higher than Jokic. I think, honestly, his steals and his blocks are the only, not steals, his blocks are the only other stat that he's higher in than Jokic. Jokic has assists, rebounds, I'm pretty sure free throw percentage. Like, Jokic is just a better all around player. Um, Kevin Durant, I do think, though, will be remembered for his, I don't want to say shiftiness because I feel like that's the wrong word, but he's versatile. He's very versatile. Jokic, he's not the fastest, he's not the most creative when it comes to shots, but he'll set you up. He'll still score, he'll get you a triple double. But I don't think Kevin Durant's gonna be higher on the all-time list. I think as of right now he may be just because he's further along in his career than Jokic is. But
Sure.
by the time Jokic retires, I don't think so. Even if we take out the MVPs, if Kevin Durant had zero and Jokic had zero, I still think Jokic would probably be higher up.
Even with Kevin Durant being the all-time leader in Olympic scoring history?
I don't care about the Olympics. I'll be quite honest. Just because you win
I
the
feel like it's a
Olympics,
multiplayer, and only positively though. Like no one's ever like, oh, they didn't really do anything in the Olympics, so they can't be an all-time great. Like some
Right.
play, there are some players I can't think of any, but I remember or I was thinking about this the other day that there was players that I was like, well, I don't feel like they did that much in the Olympics. But
Jamal
then when
Murray.
Kevin Durant does really well in the Olympics, it's like, well, look how great he is. So it's kind of a weird,
Yeah.
and I feel like it helped LeBron's legacy quite a bit this last summer when he
Mhm.
kind of balled out in front of the world at 48 years old.
Yeah. I
Um,
I just don't think because like Jamal Murray had a terrible Olympic performance. And granted, he's not the most, consistent player, but he'll still have great nights. So I don't think Olympics is a good indicator of that. But if we do go based off of that, Jokic in the Olympics was still doing his thing.
That's fair.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Um, According to Basketball Reference, when they go head to head in the regular season, Kevin Durant is actually 15-6 on Jokic. So, you know, he's better technically.
Who's got more rings?
Yeah, he does have more rings, but Jokic is 4-2 with him on the playoffs. So, what what matters more to you? And is that series wins or just games? Because I feel like that's just games, right? Because we've only played you guys once.
I would say probably games, yeah, because
Yeah.
they didn't meet each other when he was on the Nets. Jokic definitely didn't
He's
make the
so
playoffs
low.
against Golden State.
Yeah. And when the Suns swept Denver, KD wasn't there yet. So, yeah. But to answer my own question, I I do, but I don't think they're gonna be that far apart. Like I don't think it's gonna be. I think Jokic will be like 7 or something, and KD might be 10 or 11. Um, just I think I've always kind of been a KD fan, except for when he went to the Suns because I don't like the Suns. Sorry.
Painful.
Hey, once they swept me, and then they have, I'm sorry, Devin Booker is hard to like. He's hard to like for me.
That's
Um,
that's fair, yeah.
After that, I mean, after Kevin Durant's injury and just like having such a terrible injury and then kind of playing better, for me, that's incredible. Even though he hasn't won anything since and really done anything, and he was one toe over a 3-point line away from potentially going to a finals. Like it's pretty brutal, but I do think that they're close.
Do you think his move to Golden State's gonna tarnish it at all? Or Brooklyn even though they didn't do anything in Brooklyn, but
Uh, I'll let Seth answer that one.
Um, I don't. I think it him winning two in Golden State is better than if he hadn't won any and stayed in OKC. Like I think it helps a little, but it doesn't help as much as if he wins one after that. Like I think people like view those as like those are real rings. He was MVP of the finals,
Mm.
separated
but
with all of
like
them.
you could put a lot of guys on that team and they would have won the final. Like he made
Yeah.
them unbeatable. But I mean, I don't know. You put Paul George on that team, they probably still win the finals. Like I think like that. It's like okay, he's great. You put AD on that team, obviously they're gonna win the finals. Like I don't know if he was what put them over the top. So it's kind of like, well, of course they won, but he didn't carry them. He was probably the best player, but I think it helps him a little bit that he won those two. But the fact if those are the only two he ever wins, I think it'll be held against him a little bit. I don't know if that's fair, but I just think that people don't see that the same as like LeBron. I mean, compared to like LeBron winning with the Cavs against the Warriors, which is like, oh, that like cemented him. Like I don't think Durant has one of those, where he wasn't just a huge favorite to win. So
I feel like that Cavs ring is worth 3. Like
yeah,
whenever anyone talks about it, it's literally like
yeah,
that and the Dallas 2011
oh
Dirk.
yeah,
Like those are like I feel like the worth the most.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, like you said, he honestly, actually, in his playoffs, besides his really bad ones with Brooklyn and Phoenix, sorry, those 2 years that he won were his worst points per game in the playoffs. Like he scored 28 and 29, and the year after with Golden State, he scored almost 33 in the playoffs when they died. So yeah, I mean, he did really well, and I agree. But yeah, it's hard because he you could have put one more guy on that team. They probably still would have won both those rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were 73-9 the year before. Like they lost in the finals, but like that team might have won if they didn't even add anyone to the
Yeah.
team. So
Yeah. I don't know. I think especially with Jokic because he stayed with his team and they weren't fantastic by any means within the first like 2 years he was there, 3 years. I think that just goes to show like he's a better leader, I would say, which might also help his case. Because KD's, he's not problematic, but he's not Jokic, I guess.
I also feel like we haven't talked. Sorry, Carl, if I'm interrupting you.
No, you're not. You can.
Uh, KD scores really well, but Jokic literally makes everyone else around him better. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's for me is a huge amplifier. Like, what's KD's like assists? Like
Uh,
4 in his career.
yeah, 4.1. Oh, yeah, for 4.4.
Yeah, so he's giving you 7 rebounds and 4 assists. 7 rebounds, sure, fine, but 4 assists, dude. Yeah, I feel like even if we're like, oh well, Kevin Durant scored 27 points per game in his whole career, no one's ever gonna argue that KD's a better scorer than Jokic, but Jokic is a better player.
Agreed.
I think so. I mean, if you put KD on that Nuggets team that won a ring, I don't think they win.
No.
I think they're really good, but like I don't think they're as good. Like I think Jokic is yeah, his passing being like the focal point of everything. I don't think KD would have been able to replicate that.
I think your Lakers would have beat us if we had KD instead of Jokic.
I don't know.
I genuinely believe it. But all right,
Yeah.
we're all in agreement. How lame.
Yeah. I can play
I'll say one
devil's
thing that's
advocate.
interesting.
Oh, yeah, go
We
ahead.
had
Oh, we
KD
didn't
and
say
like
anything interesting.
I'll say
Crazy.
one thing else that's interesting. That we had KD and Westbrook in his prime in both their primes, and they're really good. But then we have like Westbrook way, way, way older, and Jokic is still making him look really, really good. So
Yeah.
like I feel like
Yeah.
that already showed like obviously there's something they're enhancing each other in a way that maybe KD never was. This goes with
Fair.
your argument, Caleb, about making players better.
That
Yeah,
makes
which I think is gonna bite us in the ass because these guys are gonna look really good and then they're gonna make a lot of money and they're gonna KCP and go to Orlando and it's like,
Yeah, Bruce Brown.
he's done literally nothing.
Yeah.
that makes me wonder though, because people were saying that Russ was the problem on those Thunder teams, but was it really KD? You know what I mean? Because like averaging 4.4 assists, especially like OKC, you had Russ, you had Serge at some point. Brooklyn, you had James Harden and Kyrie. Granted, those weren't the best years, but and then Phoenix, you've got Devin Booker. I'm not even talking about Bradley Beal because I don't care about Bradley Beal. But you've
Don't
got
forget
Devin
about
Booker.
prime Kendrick Perkins.
Anyway, but like in Golden State, his highest assists was 5.9 in his last year with Golden State, and I know he could have had more. He had Clay, he had Curry, he had Draymond even, and I don't even really like Draymond. Like you had so many options, and you only got what did I say? You only got 5.9. Like, come on.
It's great. Yeah, I didn't know it was that low. I just always assumed he passed the rock a little more.
Yeah, bro's not fantastic in the passing category. That just goes to show you how underrated passing is.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was our episode. Some good debate, although it seemed like we pretty much agreed on all that, which happens
I
when you got
disagree.
three experts like us sometimes. But let us know what you think in the comments. I feel like there's probably some room for disagreement there. But thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Till next time, we'll have some more topics for you. See ya.
See ya.